Okay. What's going on, guys? That's better. Okay. What's going on, guys? This is Pastor Sean. Actually, let me go ahead and close the window. It's getting dark. I just went swimming earlier today, so I'm feeling kind of tired right now. But I believe that's definitely been a good thing because my insomnia. Speaking of insomnia, actually, I'm supposed to be taking my melatonin tonight, which is pretty sweet. So my insomnia has been pretty bad lately. I'm not really sure why. I've always had insomnia, but I probably talked about it on another video. I just don't remember. But anyways, so wanted to tell a story that I haven't told on here before. I thought about it at work last week and thought out of the 109 videos that are now on this Christian channel that I haven't told this specific story, and it was an unexpected blessing, something that was pretty crazy. So to give you a bit of a background story on this subject, to give you a background, so I used to want to become a professional wrestler, like way a long time ago. We're talking like 15, let's see, I'm 30 now. So when I was 5 years old, that's what I wanted to do with my life, and I was really, really into that. Oh, no, I did talk about that. I talked about it on that hour-long video I made on my walk from the last 10 years. So you guys, if you already haven't heard that part, where I talk about how I used to be in professional wrestling school and stuff like that, go ahead and listen to that video. But anyways, so I was actually living at my ex-fiance's house. So my girlfriend at the time, when I just kind of met her, I knew her for about maybe like 1 or 2 years. This was back in 2009, 2010. It's 2019 now. June, it's about to go into the second week of 2019. So about 9 or 10 years ago, there was a complete unexpected blessing. Keep in mind, I just became Christian at the time. I was taking everything very literal and seriously in the Bible. So I was very gullible and not using discernment, or I was very, at the time, even though I was saved, I was very immature. So thinking that, if I just asked for supernatural things to happen, that they were just going to happen like that. I thought that's kind of how the Christian faith works. Like God would just miraculously just show you signs and things like that. There was a time period where I quit believing in that. I believe it was around that time, late 2009, early 2010. Just also, I got a timer on here, so I'm just going to also make it clear to you guys that are watching, this is not going to be too long of a video. To be honest, actually, I had another video that I was going to be uploading, but my computer broke. So now I have to wait to bring it in for it to get fixed. So I already had about a 20-minute video lined up going over chapter in Philippians, but I had to do this one instead because I had no other alternative. Because the other thing of the other video that I was going to make as a backup video was also on the laptop. So that's why I'm going to be doing the story time with you guys right now. So already about almost 4 minutes in. Okay, so anyways. So what happened was that at the time I was like kind of like I am now, but not as much. I was really, really into professional wrestling, even though I quit the school. When I came down here to Tucson from the Bay Area, I just dropped out of wrestling school at the time. And so when living at my ex-fiance's mother's house at the time, keep in mind I'm also unemployed at this time. It was looking like a pretty hopeless situation in the moment. Being that when I was living in this house, it was technically it was a drug den, even though her mother tried to make us think that nothing bad was going on and just keep everything normal. Don't ask certain questions. It's really not a big, like, things like this. Oh, it's not a big deal or whatever. When at the time that there was guys coming over our house at the time, under my suspicion that they were coming over to do like heroin and coke and stuff like that. It's just my speculation though, because it was only certain types of people that were coming over, if you know what I mean. So, anyways, they didn't have cable at this place. And they didn't have... My ex-fiance's mother, her house did not have running... No, they had running water, but they didn't have a heater. So what we would have to do is we have to take these big, like this big basin pot. It was like, we had dimensions like this. And so if you want to take a hot bath or a hot shower, what we'd have to do at the time is we would have to fill it up in the sink in the kitchen, because this was a house, like a 3-bedroom house we lived in. Filled up to the brim, and then you would have to lug it, like, and it was really heavy, to the bathroom. One time I accidentally spilled the whole thing all over the floor. It went everywhere. In the hallway, in the bathroom. Like, it took forever to clean up. This was around the time when I was also teaching the network Bible study. Back when I was going to Mesquite Community Church. So, anyways. So, what I believe happened is... Okay, so now that you have those things in mind, and we didn't have any heat or anything, and we hardly had electricity, but she did have a VHS player in her room. So, my ex-fiance's mother's room had a VHS player in it for the TV. So that's how we would kill time, is watch really, really bad, corny DVDs that she owned and VHS tapes of movies that I had absolutely no interest in. It was kind of like living in a really nice glorified prison. Like, that's how I would describe the 5 months I was here. When I came here to Tucson the first time in 2009, it was definitely an experience. But anyways, so one night, my almost mother-in-law, she lost I believe it was a bracelet. So we had to go looking through the trash, and I got really upset in the moments, because if you guys don't know this, I'm a pretty emotional guy. My emotions can get the best of me, and I can become sensitive at times. I really try not to be like that, but I just particularly don't really like to eat food that much, and I mean, I like to drink, but like, I try to drink a lot of water and stuff, but inside of my chemicals or whatever, my brain's always screwed up for some reason. So, and then I feel better after I drink a lot of water and like eat healthy, like a big healthy meal, even though I don't like to eat big meals. I eat like every 2 hours. Anyways, so I was really mad. That's probably why. Or it could have even been the crazy stressful situation we were in. I remember my ex-fiance was at IHOP at the time, working a part-time shift, because she worked at the YMCA in the mornings. So what happened was that she wanted me, the mother wanted me to go help look for this bracelet that she lost. She thinks she threw it out by accident. So what happened is that we went outside to the dumpster. Keep in mind, I think I brought my CD collection. I did not bring, I might have brought like, no, I wouldn't have had Christian study books at the time. It was too early in my faith. I didn't start collecting books until after I came back from Tucson. So like a year into me being saved. I only had the Bible that was given to me for my birthday by my ex-fiance. I actually still have the Bible over there. Anyways, so brought my CDs, but I didn't bring any DVDs or VHS tapes or anything. So anything of any type of wrestling, pro wrestling that I wanted to watch, even though I did watch a lot of UFC and, different, I don't know if Bellator was around back then, but I also watched MMA anytime I could find it on cable. I forgot, they had like Comcast or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It might have been Cox, I'm not sure. But, so I did not bring any VHS tapes. I didn't think to, because we originally were living at her grandmother's house, and I was only supposed to be here for a week. A week turned into 9 years. So, anyways, what had happened is that we went outside. So we went in the back, and how it works here in Tucson is that behind the houses are washes, okay? It's just this place that looks like a really small forest that has these big drums for garbage disposal. So we went back there, and this was something where I was just completely, if I wasn't scared to death, I was bored out of my mind living at this person's house. So like, you could not win either way. But so we get into the dumpster. It's like 8:30 at night, or 7:30. I remember because I actually told the story to one of the women that were running the church at the time, like a day later. So I think this was like a Tuesday night, I think. So I could be wrong about that. But we go outside. We go to the dumpster, and we're looking for this bracelet. I am praying to God, please help me through this. Because this is just, the situation was just so overly ridiculous. I was being tested like hard when I got into this situation. If it wasn't for me trying to keep my ex-fiance at bay most of the time with trying to not have premarital sex and whatnot, or getting grief from different people at the church, like, because it felt like they didn't believe me when I was trying to stay celibate or whatever, or from my parents just calling me and giving me grief about different things, about me wanting to come back, or like getting in arguments about stuff like that, about me living here when they're over there. I don't exactly remember what the arguments were about, but I remember that happening too. So we get to the dumpster in the back. It's dark, and I bring out she gives me a flashlight, I think, and she has a flashlight, I think. So we go out there, and we go through the dumpster to look for, like, right when we open the big top of the dumpster to look for this bracelet. We actually find the bracelet after going through some garbage bags, even though I remember the thing being full. But when we went out there were boxes and boxes, like 4 or 5 shoe boxes worth of VHS tapes. And I think there was they all had still the covers on them and stuff, and there was writing on them, but I don't remember what the writing said. So I took one of them and opened the box, and it was just lines of WCW and Attitude Era wrestling from WWF on there for every single VHS tape I found, other than maybe like 2 tapes that had 2 made-for-TV movies on them from back in like the mid or late 90s or something. And I remember that when I saw that, I fell to my knees. I looked up at the sky, like, because here in Tucson, there's not much lights, like in most areas of Tucson, where street lights, there we go. So there's not many street lights in most areas here in Tucson, so you can see like the clear sky. When I looked up, I remember I fell on my knees because I was just so ridiculously miserable living in this situation. Also, keep in mind, well, not keep in mind, but I forgot to mention this part. I grew up very sheltered, so going from 0 to 100, where, you know, if anything cool happened, it's because I had to make it happen by disobeying my parents' rules to leave the house and whatnot. I wasn't even allowed to walk down to the 7-Eleven to get drinks, like, because I like to go get Arizona green teas and those big pizza slices at that place I forgot that's connected to the 7-Eleven. So it was like down the street from that Presbyterian church up in Castro Valley. I forgot the name of it. Anyways, I like to get that. I was not allowed to do that. Oh, sorry about that. I was not allowed to do that until... I don't know how to... Sorry, I don't know how to turn off those notifications. Anyway, so finishing here, went from 0 to 100, where it was just a super, super chaotic situation. Like, basically just living with criminals. Like, every one of them, I think, other than my ex-fiance. But So I remember it just being like a super ridiculous situation. And I fell on my knees and I looked up to the sky and I said, "Thank you, Jesus, that you've blessed me with this." And I remember I was watching those tapes like for months on end. There was days I remember after that when my ex-fiance's mother had to go leave to do. She was a traveling nurse and she went up to New Mexico. And I remember that there were days where I would literally sit or lay down in her bed and watch the TV, where I put on those VHS tapes and I would just play them over and over again, like for 8 hours straight. Because there was nothing else to do. I couldn't find a job at the time. It was really depressing, but that happened. I just thank God that he was looking out for me. Like maybe he allowed my ex-fiance's mother to lose that bracelet so she would make me come help her. And then we found the bracelet and we found all these VHS tapes. They even had like those things like these. They had the like pads, the sticky note pads taped like all over the back of these VHS boxes of what the date was for the Raw and SmackDown and like what year it was or what was Nitro and Thunder and even pay-per-views and like all this stuff. Who was on the card, like who was wrestling on the card, what promos were happening. Like this, whoever they lived next to over in that area of Tucson, like that person was just super into wrestling like how I was, and Jesus just blessed me with that. So I wanted to tell you guys that story, even though I had something completely different planned. I'm glad I did because it kind of brought back fond memories. So once again, this is Pastor Sean. If you want to know more about it, go ahead and send me some comments or send me a personal message on Instagram or something. But thanks for listening, guys, and God bless.